I'd like to call well, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting for February 19th, 2019 of the City Council of Cannon Falls to order. We have roll call, please.
Councilmember Bringold. Duncan.
Here.
Gesme.
Here.
Lundell.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
Montgomery.
Here.
And Mayor Altoff.
Here. Join for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion by Bill and second by Morris to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That brings us to the public input portion of our meeting. Citizens may speak to issues not on the agenda. Before speaking, please give your name and an address for the minutes. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Comments must be pertinent to city business and adhere to the data privacy rules. No employees' names can be used. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. Jim,
Yeah, you want me to give me a name and an address still?
please, please.
Tim Deemer, Cannon Falls.
Thank you.
This has been on my mind for way too long, a long time. Just reading from one of your peace officers' cards, it says dedicated to those who serve. Dedicated to always do the right thing. And I don't know if I might have mentioned this before in previous times. The integrity that's been brought up in the past from whatever other what you'd call personalities or characters of some of the people, and there's definitely courage in this for part that I'm struggling with is the knowledge that lists here. These three were integrity, knowledge, and courage. And I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I knew before, and somebody told me, or one of the council members said about it's you can't. Not everything in that you read is true and is right or correct, but I think it was a month ago in one of the articles, one of the two comments were made, or quote, in quotations, they said that one of them said that this town is in shambles, and so I'm just trying to almost fend for myself in a way, but also those others that, or I'm just trying to understand what, if it's really true that it's in shambles, or it has been, or how to move forward. And I also just want to mention that in all the 27 or so years when I moved here in 91, I'm sure you'd all agree we're not perfect. We would have those that, including myself, say something that they're sorry for, an apology sense. But in all them years I've lived here, since I've never, except for today, this morning when I got a call and got a sincere apology, not just an apology, but a sincere apology, and I'm hoping, and I felt bad the way I I owed that person an apology too, so I came in person and told them. And I guess I wish I could not feel like such an outcast in a town that I've put in a lot of work, working for the town or at businesses in this town, and the treatment, and just being an outcast, and just somebody I talked to yesterday, and gets out of the car, and it's like I'm invisible. You don't say hi. I say hi back to him, but it's like I'm nobody. I'm just this hermit outcast. That's not only because of me. I think it's on both sides that is happening. So
Okay.
I don't know if that is about the city, or if I'm keeping to what the guidelines is to speak on just public issues or city business. So sure you'll hear from me again.
Right, thank you. Anybody else on public input that would like to address the council tonight? Anyone else that would like to address the council tonight? Third and last time, anybody who would like to address the council tonight? If not, we'll conclude the public input portion of the council meeting. And I'll turn it over to Dave Maroney, who will introduce our guest tonight.
Thank you. Our good friend David Anderson, representing the statewide health improvement project program, is here tonight. David's been an instrumental partner with us on our local food program, receiving several SHIP grants to finance a variety of things that we've worked in concert with SHIP on in the past. And David's here tonight to update the City Council on the upcoming Bikeable Community Workshop. David?
Thank you. The pressure's on. I didn't realize I've been so instrumental in so many things over here. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share with you. I believe in your packets you have some paperwork that I had sent over. So for the past year, myself and some local residents have been working on making Cannon Falls safer, easier, and more enjoyable for children, adults, and seniors to be able to bike. With our goals for the project, we have three main ones, and that is to increase the number of students who bike to and from school. The second one is to increase the number of children, families, and seniors who are able to bike to community destinations like the swimming pool, like the library, the fairgrounds, those areas. And then our third one is to increase the number of residents and visitors who bicycle to and from local businesses. The pictures that I included on that page are of Nick's Diner and down by the brewery and the tavern. So people who do bike will stop and spend money in town, and I think there's an opportunity, and what we've learned over the years, this past year, is there's a great opportunity here in Cannon Falls to take advantage of the number of people who are on the Cannon Valley Trail and now the Milltowns Trail, to have them to stop and spend money at our establishments here in Cannon Falls. So why are we working on this project? One of the main reasons is the Statewide Health Improvement Partnership is health related. We know that children, adults, seniors who are active walking and biking are going to be healthier. It's going to help reduce the obesity epidemic that we're experiencing right now. We also know that children who are active before school perform better in school. So there's a connection there. The bicycle-friendly communities provide an opportunity to make communities vibrant destinations for residents and visitors, and a place where people don't just live, but work and thrive. And if you're looking to bring in young families, to have a bikeable and a walkable community is vital. People are looking for those type of things. To take simple steps to make bicycling safer and comfortable can pay huge benefits, as I had mentioned. And given the opportunity to ride, residents enjoy dramatic health benefits, reduced congestion, increased property value, more money in their pockets to spend in the local community. And then the piece on tourism. For our next steps, we're kind of in phase 2 of this project. What we would like to do is to increase the number of people that are on our Bike Cannon Falls team. Then we would like to recruit folks in the community to participate in the Bikeable Community Workshop, which will be held on Tuesday, May 7th from 9 to 3. This is a workshop that we applied for. It is put on by the Bike Alliance of Minnesota, MnDOT Transportation Department, and then the Department of Health. We'll be bringing people here to help us work through and the agenda that is included in your packet. So the goal of the workshop is to develop a 6-month and 12-month action plan that will make Cannon Falls safer, more convenient, and easier for people to get around. So my big ask tonight is we're at that point where we need city staff involved. We need city decision makers being involved. So to set aside time on May 7th and participate in this workshop. I know it's during a normal work day. We will be providing lunch and snacks, and I think it's a great opportunity to take that next step and really identify the things that we need to do so more children can bike to school, more families can bike to different destinations. We have not finalized the location of the workshop. I'm hoping to do that this week, so we'll be able to have that available. You will receive an invitation from me soon with that, and I'll entertain any questions.
Have you decided what you're having for lunch?
What do you want?
Nothing to be done. There's just nothing to be done.
You said free, Steve.
That's all you need.
It will be local, we know that. So, good, thank you.
How many people are you hoping to get there? Maybe you already said.
Between 15 and 25 would be ideal.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So we presented to the school board last week, invited them to participate. They're the other key player in this project, and getting them on board will be very helpful. So we're working towards reaching that goal.
Okay.
So great, thank you.
Yep, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the council agenda portion of the meeting. For you in the audience and you at home, I'll read the council agenda. Item A, just and correct claims for the accounting period ending February 13th, 2019. Item B, minute meetings for December 5, 2019 City Council meeting. Item C, the Ruck March for 23 to 0 March. Item D, Resolution 2411, recognizing the Cannon Falls School Board. Item E, introduction and first reading of Ordinance 365, amending Chapter 152 of the Cannon Falls City Code, which is the zoning ordinance concerning building relocation. And item F, the Allied Valve Sewer Credit. Is there anything that the council would like to pull down? Not hearing anything, would I take a motion to approve the council agenda?
So moved.
Second? Second. Motion by Bill and a second by Morris to approve the council agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That brings us to council business. I'll turn it over to Dave, city council workshop discussion.
Thank you. As the initial attempt to start some dialogue about scheduling a workshop opportunity, a goal-setting meeting, if you will, with the city council. I've kind of outlined just a general format. There's no particular magic in this format. This can be done 100 different ways, obviously. But in terms of expediting some conversation with the city council, with city staff, and with the public, I've laid out just kind of a suggested format with a near-term schedule that would line up to the next two meetings of the City Council in March, setting aside perhaps an hour or so at the end of each of those regularly scheduled meetings if that's convenient. At this point, I don't know what the agendas will be. I don't know if we have a lot of business or not yet for the March agendas. But if it's a relatively short or modest meeting, if we had an additional hour or so after each one, the format that I'm talking about is to have the 7 council members mix with 7 or so of the department supervisors in 2 smaller groups. Linnell will lead one group discussion, bring her finance expertise to that group. I'll lead the other group discussion and bring some development experience and knowledge to that group. And inevitably what we find here, we talk about city goals, there's money involved and usually some type of development. So what I've tried to do here is with Linnell's acceptance and participation here, is each group would spend about 20 minutes or so talking about what you do want, what you don't want in the community. Linnell and I would each help those individual groups, and after 20 minutes or so, she and I would switch. The groups would stay the same, but she and I would simply switch and talk with the other group for another 20 minutes or so to begin to start identifying the things as a council and as staff we'd like to see happen in this community. Call them goals, call them do-wants, call them don't-wants, call them what you will, but we'll start laying out at least some identifying goals that we'd like to see and work programs that we'd like to maybe consider in the future. So that would be after the March 5th meeting. Between March 5th and March 19th, as staff will compile the results, the conversations of those meetings on March 5th, and then come back at the second meeting in March and begin again in 2 smaller groups to prioritize what we find we have common interest in or what we've identified on March 5th. So we'll start to prioritize those at the second meeting in March. Following that schedule then, what we would do between March and the first meeting is April is lay those goals out, the prioritized goals out, and begin working on some action plans. We'll have some goals and then we'll put some strategies, some action plans together about who's going to do what to whom and when. And so we at least have kind of some beginning semblance of what direction you would like to lead us, what direction we would like to work along with you on, and really for the first time or so since I've been here in Cannon Falls, begin to have some legitimate dialogue and a plan of action laid out cooperatively between the council and staff and public. So it's a format that just suggests it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but I think it would be a great first start to begin expediting some of that conversation.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the things I know early in the year I wanted for us to sit down and decide what it is we're looking to do.
And I think too, if we find something, we follow this format. If we find something that is going to necessitate considerable additional work, or maybe the need to have some additional technical experts come in and help us, we can certainly do that. But I would prefer to at least get an early start on this and get moving forward as soon as we can.
I agree.
Those 2 dates, as far as you know, at least at this point, would work. It's a convenient time to have it after a regular scheduled meeting. That works out well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion. Let's just do it.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll
Okay.
get started. We'll put it together and we'll start then in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to reports. Staff. Start with Samantha.
I just got a few things tonight. Looks like we got more snow on the way. Hopefully the weekend storm. Belinda left me a little bit of hope on the news tonight that it might be shifting south.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go with what she was saying right now, and we're going to just cross our fingers for that. It looks like pretty for sure, tonight and into tomorrow. So we'll be out again plowing. We're asking that the community's done a great job so far of keeping your vehicles off the streets. We're probably going to be continually plowing throughout the day tomorrow and then going curb to curb sometime in the evening. We just, till the storm does what it does, we don't know. Another downtown cleanup probably to follow, early Thursday morning again. So we'll be back on that and then watching the weekend storm as well. So just thanks to the community for helping us out with your vehicles. We know the alleys are getting narrow. We know the streets are getting narrow. So anything we can just keep out of our way right now to keep them as wide as we can as possible, that'd be great. The garbage cans are kind of being a problem. Everybody's putting those out in the street, and then that just causes us to go even narrower. So some of them we've been hitting by accident, but any of those we can keep in the driveway too would be great right now for us. So that's my ask on that. The other thing I was asked to comment on tonight, we do have Minnesota Energy has a gas line project they're working on right now. They just started here in the last week, and it's going to be going down Dakota Street and then taking a turn to go behind like the Lawrence storage units. And then they're going to be crossing the river. They're going underneath the river to the east of our sewer line, following 2nd Street up past the community center, and then coming down Hoffman Street and tying into their regulator station that they've got there. It's a system upgrade that they're working on. They're increasing the line size to allow for more demand that we're using inside of our community right now. We are working pretty closely with them on that, with the locates and things like that we've got to do. So you'll see a little bit of a mess coming through there. Their primary goal was to get their gas line off of our 3rd Street bridge. They are attached to the bottom of our bridge right now, and they wanted to go under the river and be done with a bridge crossing that they've got there. So that's what started the project, and they kind of looped an upgrade into that. So a lot of work going on to Dakota Street right now, so we just ask for the patience with them. I was hoping they were going to go more into spring, but they want to bore through the frost, so they're going for it right now. So that's going on. Other than that, that's all I've got tonight.
Nicole?
All right. Well, I'm sorry I haven't been here. It's been kind of crazy at the library. And with the weather, we've had to close a few times, unfortunately, and I apologize to the community for that. A lot of it is staff don't live in town, a lot of us, so it's kind of a crapshoot about road conditions. If county roads aren't plowed, then it's hard for us to get in. So the city does a great job, but counties don't always catch up. So, and because we've had to close a few times because of weather in the past week, our March schedule is really full of makeup programs. And one of them is actually a collaborative program between the school and the library. That's March 5th at 6 o'clock. So I will try to get here as soon as I can after the program, but it would probably be 7:30 or later. So that's just kind of where that is right now. But as far as programs, we have a women's self-defense class this Saturday. I have Valley Self-Defense coming and teaching it, so we are taking registration. They recommend ages 12 and up for this class. And, I mean, that's provided we don't have really bad snow. And I don't have to reschedule. But it should be very, very good. So if anybody wants to take the class, dress for working out. We are doing some ACT practice tests and prep classes by teen suggestion. We have one practice test next Monday at 10 a.m. We have a prep class on March 5th at 5:30 and another practice test March 8th at 10 so that the kids will be good and ready to take the ACT, which is a few weeks after that. February 25th, we have a really good music program called Acoustic Eidolon. It was a grant written by another library to bring this group into a series of 5 different libraries in the southeastern Minnesota region, and our library was one of them that was chosen for them to perform, and in a 1-hour mini concert. And then the following weekend, they're going to be having their big concert in Rochester. So please come to this. It should be really excellent. It's Celtic music. It's a duo playing 2 different instruments. I can't remember exactly what they are, but I'm really excited. It's going to be next Monday at 7 o'clock. I have a cybersecurity class taught by Mike Flores from Selco. He's pretty much the Selco technology safety guru. So that one is going to be next Thursday, February 28th at 6 o'clock. So if you have any questions about cyber safety, how to keep your own information safe online, I recommend you come to this. Mike is great because he explains things in easy to understand terms. He's not one of these tech people who like will talk way up here and you're like, I don't get it. He will make sure that you understand what he's saying. So I really highly recommend you come to this class. And then, let's see, Creating Castronauts, March 5th. We have a Selco Legacy program coming March 6th. It's called James Bowie, When Home Won't Let You Stay. It's an immigration stories program, which I think sounds very, very cool, like talking about the whole immigration issue that's going on in this country right now and stories of people who have come. So it's a nice informational program. This man, James Bowie, has written a book and interviewed numerous immigrants to get their stories. It sounds very cool. It's again, March 6th, 5:30 to 7. The police department is working with us on a safety awareness class on March 7th, Thursday at 6 o'clock. It will be Lieutenant Berg and Officer Larson. So this is just general safety awareness to help us all be aware of our surroundings so that we feel safer. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. As you can tell, we have a lot going on in the next few weeks.
Thank you. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. So this council may or may not be aware, a previous council requested that we petition the county to petition MnDOT to do a speed study on County Road 17. The results of that came back. But noted in the information that I got was a very low traffic count. So I inquired as to when it occurred. The speed study occurred during the month of December sometime. I haven't seen the full report yet. That's still coming. I let Administrator Maroney know that the information had come back. Having reflected on it a little bit, I would really like to go back to the county and request another speed study, but this time between, say, the months of, May and July, because December the kids aren't out. It just wasn't, I don't think, a true reflection of the amount of traffic that road carries. And what I would like to do is make the request back to the county so they can make the request to MnDOT and put those date parameters as requested. Obviously, we can't control what MnDOT does, but if we bring something forward, we might be able to, timing-wise, have it work out pretty well. So if this body is good with that, what I would do is start prepping a resolution again to make that petition to the county and then move that process forward.
Did Jeff, last time, did we request a particular time period?
We were advised that we don't get to pick. But
I do it during the absolute slowest time.
The timing of it, from watching when we made it and stuff, that would be about what I would have expected. I thought they'd actually hold off till spring, but apparently they don't. The recommendation was a reduction of 5 miles an hour, which I don't think the previous council would have been very satisfied with, and I don't know if this council will be, but to me that seemed very minimal considering the issues that we've identified out there with the county, and would like to see some correction to.
What are some of those things that you're...
Primarily it's the sharing of the roadway with pedestrians and bicyclists. The shoulders are narrow, the ditches are deep. There's really no paths that can be utilized to get kids, and as you know, that area has seen more young family development, so we're seeing more kids out there. They do have a park there, but all the other amenities of the city are below the hill, and that hill makes a natural constriction because of the ravine that runs through there. There was discussion at one time with the county of putting a path in. The county thought that was a great idea, assuming that we put the path in. And there's some other alternatives that we could explore, as far as trying to find a way that might meander more. But that would, of course, require cooperation with property owners in the area to make that connection.
There's a lot of people walking on it, and there's no shoulder there.
Well, I lived out there for a while.
It's not safe, and it's just, they're going too
yeah.
fast. They're going too
The
fast.
cooperation
Weapon.
you'd be looking
A
for from at least one individual for sure, you're not going to get. So we have to figure out something right on 17.
It's always challenging, especially the contour of that roadway and stuff. So if you're okay with it, I will start prepping that material up. You'll see it come back to you. I'll work with the county engineer's office, and we'll try to get the process moving so that, if I remember right, MnDOT usually tries to complete it within 60 to 120 days. So if we can get that stuff in, the timing-wise should put us in the summertime regardless.
Sounds good.
I don't think I need any council votes, but just a consensus, it seems, from all the head nodding. I'll start working on that,
Yeah,
that
very
direction.
good. Yeah.
Go for it.
That's all I have.
David.
Some risk of stealing your thunder, Mayor and Bill Duncan. All I'm going to say, and I see Kyle here, thank you for inviting us this morning to the Chamber breakfast, and special thanks to Mike and John for serving this morning, or at least serving as speakers this morning to a well-attended Chamber breakfast. Thank you.
Well, Steve.
Last Wednesday, February 13th, I think it was, I went down to the Highway 52 open house in Zumbrota. And it was just wandered around. There was no structured presentation. We're still working on 3 options, and the biggest issue is the overpass interchange at Hayter is not a done deal, which we took it was from the last meeting.
That's what we thought.
So they still have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of just a lot of balls up in the air yet. What's going to happen? There's I talked to a couple of the property owners that were affected with closing off the crossings, and they went from a quarter mile from one property to the other to 4 miles, no matter if it was plan A, B, or C. But they also said that if they get the interchange at Hayter and it saves one life, they don't care how far they got to drive. So there's a lot of options out there yet, and a lot of I would say disgruntled property owners right now. But they have a lot of work to do yet. That's all I have.
Matt.
Nothing official, but just wanted to say in our consent agenda that this is officially Cannon Falls School Board Week, and I know there's no one present, but want to thank them because I know they do a lot of tough work too. And also our Public Works meeting, there were members there that we got to talk to about our relationship with the school and with John Birch Park, so I think we're making progress there. Mm-hmm. And then Mike, thanks. I know you got about 1.5 feet, maybe more. You believe Belinda if you want to. I think they're wrong. 60% of the time we could get 10 plus. Who knows? So that's all I got.
Bill.
Okay. First, Dave left himself out as one of the speakers this morning at the Chamber breakfast, so thank you, Dave. As Matt mentioned, Public Works, we met last Wednesday. We have an amazing amount of items on our agenda, and a lot of them are ongoing. We had one on our consent agenda tonight. Matt mentioned working with the school and the Bears, and right now that's in the schools camp, and we'll let them work for a while on that. But a lot of other items, it's amazing. Our Public Works meeting was 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that hasn't even been our longest one. So kudos to Mike, because he's staying right on top of it and keeping Matt and myself and Jeremy Mao as commission members on our toes. So
Derek?
I just wanted to thank the Public Works and Mike. They've been doing a good job plowing the last 3 weeks. It seems like it's snowing just every other day, and it'll snow again tonight. So just thanks to those guys. You know, they're working all through the night, and they seem like they're doing a really good job as far as I can tell. So that's about it.
Mary Jill?
Thank you. You may regret having this section of the meeting after I'm done. You might recall a couple of meetings ago, it was the second meeting of the year, when we got around to the council members having their input. Bill made a rather long speech. In fact, one of the longest speeches I've ever heard him make for any reason. And he was essentially talking about control of the meeting and people speaking during public input and maybe going on too long or straying into other subject areas. And then he was speaking about people kind of, for lack of a better term, popping up and down during the meeting to just kind of give their 2 cents on different subjects. And then he went on to speak about a person who he was alleging had made threats, had been intimidating, had been harassing people without naming him. Thank you, Ken Haggerty, for clearing. No, your reporting was a little. I appreciate what you said. Without naming, I'm just going to Babe O'Gorman. It's the 800-pound elephant in the room. Without naming him, you named him. That's all right. I'm wondering, and I have to bring this up this way because if I talk to each one of you separately, I know I'm violating the open meeting law. Did anybody else get a phone call after that meeting about what a liar bill is? Anybody else? Get one?
After the meeting, no.
Well, this was 2 days after.
I got a phone call, but I don't think he mentioned that part of it.
Okay.
And I had gotten a text, and I'm not
Okay.
going to say what was in that.
Okay. Well, the text I got, you know, I've known Babe since 1965, so this is a long time. And I don't have a lot to do with him over the years, you know, on and off. And I'm pretty sure he was joking. But, you know, I'm a single woman. I live alone with my kids. And to get a text that says, don't call 911, scares the crap out of me. It's on my phone if you want to see it. But it says, please call me and don't call 911. Fine. So I didn't call 911 because I knew he was in Arizona. So he wasn't going to come after me. But he was clearly very irritated. And I said, well, what's going on? And he said, kept repeating, Bill Duncan is not dealing in facts. Didn't say Bill Duncan's lying or Bill's not telling the truth. Bill Duncan's not dealing in facts. And I thought, okay. And I listened, and he was just kind of going on. And then I said, what's really the problem? What happened? And this is where I got my first non-denial denial. And if you know what that term means, to me it means someone is saying things in a way that it sounds like they're denying something, but it isn't really a denial of it. Because what followed that was not, I wasn't harassing anyone, I wasn't threatening anyone. That's what I would have expected it to be. No, what he was angry about was he didn't have permission from Mike Altoff to say all of that. You ask Mike Altoff. He never gave him permission to say all that. Well, that has nothing to do with what the real problem was. That's a side issue. So I called his bluff. Tonight, I asked Mike Altoff if it was all right if Bill said all that. And what was your answer? It was all right. So, in other words, guys, it all went down just the way Bill said. He's been harassing, he's been intimidating, all of that is happening. Multiple phone calls per day to Mike, to the point where if I were getting that many phone calls, I wouldn't be able to get any work done. Okay? So, but then he kept saying, Bill's not dealing in facts. And I thought, finally I said, I've known Bill a long time. Cat out of the bag. We were married for 20 years. He is not a liar. I will put my hand on the Quran, the Bible, whatever you got. He's not a liar. He might get things wrong. You may not like what he has to say, but he doesn't lie. So I knew that wasn't true. And I said, well, if Mike had such a problem with what he was saying, why didn't he just say, Bill, you're going too far. That didn't happen. And the answer I got to that was, well, if your boss is up there talking, you're not going to contradict what he has to say. And I thought, well, that's a bunch of hooey, because Mike had no problem pushing back when I talked about nepotism. And that was a pretty big deal. That was pretty personal. He pushed back. It was all fine. We worked it out. It's going to be fine. So I knew that wasn't correct. And then he said, and for another thing, I have not had any contact with the chief of police except once in the last 4 months. And again, I thought, that doesn't have anything to do with the problem. But for those of you who haven't lived in Cannon Falls as long as I have, or as long as some of us have, this stuff's been going on since the 1980s. This didn't start last week or last month or last year. 85, 86 is when I recall this starting, before my daughter was born. So even if that's true, that he has not contacted the chief of police except one time in 4 months, that's just a lull, guys. It's gonna start again. I don't even have to worry about that. Whether the problems are real, imagined, correct, or not correct, it will continue. Okay? So then he just kept going on, and he was trying to get me to say Bill was lying. I know he was, because he just kept, and I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't play. And finally I said, your reputation precedes you here. And he hung up on me. Now, I know I'm setting myself up for something horrible to come out in the local press about me. But I've had it happen before. I worked at the bank for a long time and heard lots of bad things. But, I'm not a young person. I'm not nearly as young as you, for example. But I'm also not 95 years old. And it's time for the acid tongue and the poison pen to stop. And we've all got to come together on this. I mean, I'm talking to you partly because we can't be letting this all happen in the shadows, where one person, like I got the phone call. Why? I think he was trying to turn the exes against each other and get us fighting. I really do. I believe that. If nobody else got that kind of phone call, why me? He's trying to get me to at least doubt what Bill said, if not out and out start, I'm not going to talk to him anymore. Well, that's not going to happen. We're all adults here. So my Cairn Terrier died, so we can't have Toto pull the curtain out to show the man behind the curtain. But guys, this has got to stop. And my recommendation, I'm not going to call 911, don't play. Do not play. Because there are real attempts here. I mean, I've read things on Facebook about talking about how Babe O'Gorman is the savior of the city and he's done all these great things over the years. Well, maybe. That might be true. But I would wager that the preponderance of what has been done has not been to further the city along, but it's been with the idea of causing chaos, of ending people's employment. And it's all fine and good as long as you're friends with them, and as long as you go along, and as long as you play nice, it's great. But boy, the minute you cross, it's bad news. Bill found that out. I know I'm going to find that out now. I know, And just one more thing. When someone's a bully, and I don't think it's too hard to figure out that I do think he's a bully, remember that when they say things, when they accuse, The stuff doesn't have to be true. It just has to be mean. That's all it has to be. Because people like you and me are afraid to speak up. Now, I'm not trying to say that this has happened to anyone here, but it's hard for me to believe that over the years, I've been the only person it's happened to. I find that very hard to believe. If he calls me tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll talk to him. I have no problem talking to him at all. But I'm also not going to play the game. And I'm here for the city of Cannon Falls. That's what I'm here for. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done. For the evening.
Morris?
One thing about Steve, those roads, wasn't it 66?
That was something else.
Wasn't it 66 crossings and they were only going to make
It's going
six?
from roughly 66 down to 6 crossings, and they're still considering Hayter or County 8 or 57, whatever you guys call it,
Yeah.
as the J-turn, as the
That would not be good. I don't
reduced
think.
conflict. Is
Oh,
that what
that's
they
a-
call it? Reduced conflict?
It's a bad idea.
That's not good.
There's a lot of people
Boy.
maybe wanted to beat on those guys' brains that you got to say, that's for sure. Check that off. We're going to do it that way, and that's it. The rest we're going to have to work out.
What in the world? I know.
Nothing's etched in stone. Absolutely nothing.
I don't like
That
those
is
J-turns at
unfortunate.
all.
I don't like them
No,
either.
J-turns to me are,
They look so
They don't work
unsafe.
for, yeah, unsafe for cars, more or less.
and
Farm
trucks.
machine or
Well, yeah.
semis.
Right.
They're so unsafe.
Right.
Anything
That-
else?
That answer your question, Morris?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm going, like you said, 4 miles or whatever. That's a long ways.
Are they going to have ongoing meetings now, or is this like,
No.
do we know anything?
Oh, that's another thing, John, Mayor John. I told him about we're not getting emails, and then she thought that maybe you and I were both messy writers and they couldn't read it. So I made her read my email back.
I'm on the list now. I got an email. I'm on the list. So. No,
Lately?
yeah, just last weekend.
Well,
Must have read my last
we,
one. I
we
guess.
do know from
Yeah.
having our interchanges done that working with MnDOT is difficult at best.
They don't care.
Anything else? No. I just want to bring up one thing. On February 27th, next week, Mayo wants to meet with any of you that would be available.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What?
It's at 4:00. I think I want to meet maybe in the meeting room over here. 4:00 on February. I think it's Wednesday, isn't
Wednesday? Yeah.
it? Wednesday at 4:00.
4:00
Yeah.
here at City Hall.
City Hall, yes. They'll come here. But for those of you who can make it,
Okay.
they will be there. I don't have anything else. Anybody else got anything? Okay, I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
No, second.
Motion by Bill and second by Morris to adjourn. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.